guess I could. Alright, once again, we're gonna try this again, y'all. I already tried this twice, but we're gonna try it again. So, hello. I hope everyone is doing lovely. I hope you guys are remaining safe and healthy. I want to thank you for watching, supporting the channel, no matter what time you're watching this, whether it's morning, afternoon, evening, night. I appreciate it. Um, please, please, please like, comment, subscribe if you haven't already, and share, share, share. Please, I am begging for shares and likes. So yeah, I am a newbie if you haven't gathered that already. And the plan is today as to like introduce myself, me as the person, not just the game player or just, sharing gameplay. I want to build a brand, and so I figured why not play Sims instead of GTA. If you guys watching me or checked out my channel, then you realize that I stick to what I love, and it's usually one or two games, which is GTA 5 or Sims. And I've somewhat given Sims a break here in the recently because I don't know, maybe burnt out a little bit. I really don't know. I've just been more into GTA here lately. Um, However, Sims is more laid back, um, chill vibe, peaceful. Not that, you know, uh, anything's wrong with that. Like, I've just been more into GTA. It's more um, exciting to me right now. I'm more caught up into the action of it all. So, but tonight I wanted to kind of introduce myself, if you will. But first, and also, let me tell you what gave me this idea was not too long ago, a couple weeks ago, I had hooked up with a Facebook, I don't want to, associate, and she's also a YouTuber, and so she had this thing where we would all play. It was like three or four of us would play and just get to know each other, you know. Um, so I kind of got the idea from that, and so I'm not gonna promise, but the idea or the plan is to kind of talk to you guys and tell like different, because I have a testimony. Let's start there. Everybody does, but to tell different things and stories that I've, situations and stuff that I've been through in the past, and why I am or who I am today, why I'm like I am today. And so I'm sure that there are many of you guys who can relate uh, to some of the things I've gone through, who maybe can learn from some of the things I've gone through. And, to each his own. If not, cool, cool, no problem. But I know there is a lot of people who can't. So, but we want to take it slow because one thing about me is this will definitely be challenging. Let me say that first most. It will be challenging for me because I'm not one um, to tell my business in a sense, and I'm not an open individual. It's hard for me to open up to people, and so this is another reason why I am challenging myself to you know, just talk to people and open up, in other words. Open up. That is my goal. To let it out. Um, because I feel like there's a lot of things that I've gone through that kind of hinder me today, if that makes sense. As far as like relationships. I'm not talking about like, uh, love relationships. I'm talking about even friendships. It's just hard for me to trust um, and just let that guard down. And once I start to tell like some of the things that I've endured, you'll understand why it is the way it is. So, yeah, I see a pattern in things that I've gone through, and I want to kind of release that and then look at the things that I've gone through, and maybe I can kind of learn even now from them thinking back and change, some of my, what would I call them, flaws in a sense, I guess. I don't know. So, yeah. So, anyway, let's start off. First of all, my name is Nicole. I go by Nikki for short. Um, Even though I will be getting personal on this channel, I will not be. I mean, some of you probably will know my well, my real name is Nicole, but I'm saying my whole name. Some of you, I'm sure, will know because you personally know me, and then there's others who won't. So, anyways, we're just gonna keep it as Nicole. Short for Nikki, if you like. And I am from down south. Um, Hold on. Let's see which lot I'm going to start on. I've put some people on lots, but I haven't started actually building. But I said I was gonna, on this time around, I'm going to um, place the people on the lots and then start building. I don't know if that's gonna be a bad idea or not, but I just decided to do it that way this time. And so here we have the Love Sisters. I think one is pregnant. I don't remember what they're about though. And then we have Russo and Spencer from Criminal Minds. I call myself doing a imitation of Spencer, and yeah, I love Spence. So I figured I would do an imitation of him, and so I've decided to put him on that lot. And this one, I think we're gonna actually build a new character for. So yeah, let's go to create household.
One Jeannie LeRae.
One Jeannie LeRae. Now I have no idea of what type of person I want on this lot. Randomize. Did someone call me?
And I'm prep kid
No, you
off.
need to go outside because I am streaming. Okay, let's look at this chick. No.
Zumboom Inabosh.
I don't know, y'all. I could see what she's giving, but right now I can't tell because of the glasses and whatnot. Um, I haven't played this in Hold on. Alright. Okay, I like to give them a clean canvas as well. And yep, let's go. And I don't know. Okay. Hold on. Alright. Sorry. Now. Oh, shoot. Okay. How about that? I don't know, Bob. I'm streaming. So, singing. Um. Do y'all know it took me forever to find out what detail mode, like, it took me forever to figure that out. Uh-oh. Okay. Her skin is a little pale, too. So, as far as introducing myself, I am a southern girl, or lady. I have children, I won't say how many, and I don't have much family. Majority have passed away. I, so what's left here, as far as family wise, is I have a nephew. My sister recently passed of cancer, and so her son, is incarcerated, and I have a cousin, and my children. As far as immediate family, that's it. Um, I have distant family. I have let's see, my adopted father's niece. We're close. And so I have her, my cousin, and yeah, that's it. So very, very, very small. Let me take some medicine. Very, very small um, family knit group. And even though we're, it's not too many of us, we are very distant. And that you'll get to understand that more as I tell you more about me. I don't know really where to begin. Well, I guess I can go back to, okay, I guess we can go back to family and why we're distant, or how we became distant. A little bit of family, because most families are close and whatnot, and so I know that's gonna be questionable. Well, dang, if it's not too many of y'all, why y'all so distant? It wasn't always like that, of course. If you get on that phone, you better have a phone call. Sorry. Man keeps trying to watch, listen to music while streaming, and I don't want my video to get blocked out. So it wasn't always that way. I'm not gonna give real names because, like I said, there are probably some people that will know me personally, and if they do, well, then they'll know who I'm talking about. But I'm just still not gonna do that as respect for the privacy of my the people in the story. Um, so again, we were not always distant. It started out as, of course, my mother and adoptive father. I have a sister. We have two separate fathers, same mother. I have I had an aunt, my mother's sister, my grandmother, grandfather, uh, sister's son, which is my nephew, and cousin, which is my mom's sister's son. Okay. And the thing about it is, my cousin and my nephew are the same age. Okay. Um, and that's because my mom had my sister at a young age, and so we were 14 years apart. All right. So that's why I guess it's so natural for uh, my aunt and my sister to have had kids at the same time. If that makes sense, I hope so. So we're gonna name my cousin. What can we name him? We'll name him Junior. Okay, Junior is my cousin, and my nephew will be named. Um, um, let's see. We'll name my cousin Slim Jim. I mean, my nephew Slim Jim, and my cousin Junior. So nephew's name Slim Jim, cousin's name Junior. Hold on before I get into the story. Hold on.
Hmm. Hmm.
Okay. Hopefully you guys can hear me. Let me check that. Hold on. Alright. Can I be heard? Adjust microphone level. Yeah. Can you hear me? Alright. So hopefully, yeah, I can be heard. So, okay, back to the story. Um, so nephew is Slim Jim, and cousin is Junior.
Hmm.
My aunt will be named. let's name her Jean. Okay, Jean. And her husband, let's name him Mac. So we have Uncle Mac, Aunt Jean, cousin Junior, and my nephew is Slim Jim. We're gonna name my sister. Give her a nickname. She didn't like Boozy. Okay, Boozy. No, we're not gonna name her Boozy. We're gonna name her Lily. Okay. My grandmother should have been named her, but we're gonna name my sister. No, we're gonna name her. Um, um, sister. We're gonna name her. We're just gonna call her Big Sis. Okay, Big Sis. And grandmother is Lily. Um, Papa is gonna be called the Goat. Okay, or the Mac. We're gonna call him Mac. So we got Papa Mac, Grandma Lily, Big Sis, Aunt is what did we say her name's gonna be? What did we say her name's gonna be? Aunt. Oh shit. Jean. Jean. Uncle. Uncle was fuck it. Uncle is Donald because I don't remember what I said for him. Donald. And cousin is Junior. Nephew is Slim Jim. Hope y'all got all that. And my mom and dad is just gonna be my mom and dad. Okay. So that's a lot of that's about right, right? Close knit family, and we were all close. Okay, my grandfather owned several businesses. I won't get into them. I will get into some of them. He was a gambler, and from gambling, big time gambler, and from gambling, he bought. He was smart. He bought businesses and real estate, and so he got a name for himself. All right. Um, so again, my mom had my sister at a early age. Back then, that wasn't, wasn't righteous or the thing to do. So they sent her off to Denver or wherever to have the baby, which is my sister. So again, I'm just saying all this to say it was very tight knit. Um, my grandfather passed away when I was around 7. Um, and my cousin and nephew grew up as like brother and sister. Like we were all just that tight close. My uncle was. Well, my grandfather never liked my uncle. I should have said that because he was this drug dealer into big time drugs. I mean, like shipping shit from Mexico. Like it was big. Okay. My father, on the other hand, was legit. He had ran a nightclub and different things. He wasn't lame by any means, but he just ran. I mean, he did stuff, but he didn't really tap into the illegal stuff. He was more, uh, legit wise, like my grandfather. Okay. Um. So again, I'm saying all this to kind of give you a outlook or a backstory on all people involved, and why certain people came out the way they did, why I came out the way I did. You got to know that, or know a little bit of it to even get why certain people took routes that they took, or why they are the way they are. And I'm just shortening it up for you guys. I'm giving you just a backstory of my childhood and family. I did not have a bad childhood whatsoever. Catholic school, an early age, then public school, not wanting for anything, but how can I say this? But again, there was, as you remember me saying, my grandfather had businesses and whatnot. Oh, you gotta go out there. And so, my sister grew up working. Like it was family. There were a family business as well. I don't want to say what kind, or two different main businesses that the family was included in. And my father um, would not allow me. Okay. 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 So here's the phone again. From Green Jimmy. And I just didn't start telling a story and stop. Stopped the gameplay. Let me go on to the gameplay, child.
According
Man.
to Encyclopedia Britannica, in U.S. history, bootlegging was the illegal manufacture, transport, distribution, or sale of alcoholic beverages during the Prohibition period, when those activities were forbidden under the 18th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution.
Alright. So, let me get back to this gameplay. I think her skin, I want her darker. So, where was I? Oh. The way my father felt, he didn't want me to work in the family business because um, he felt that it would hinder me. That and in retrospect, it would have. He wanted me to have what he claimed a real jobs, um, because on the family business you could take money out the register, you wouldn't get fired, you could leave when you wanted to. Well, family, anyways. Just things you could do and get away with it. It wouldn't be anything said, and if so, it'd be tap on the hand, you know. So he and not only that, the area that the businesses were in um, wasn't such good areas to, you know. So he just didn't want me in that environment for the most part. Okay. Um, Not that anything was wrong with it. Like I could come and go, but as far as just working there, and um, it was, how could I put it? It was a side of town where there was a lot of. At this point, when I was younger, it was Crips and Bloods. It was killings. It was all the time in this area. It was during the time where a lot of people was coming from. I remember California, like running from, on the run and coming to down south. I don't say where, um, and then they would come here and hype all the gangs or supposed gangs at that point up to killing and doing things. Um, I think they were just following in pursuit, and I mean that's just me, my opinion as of looking back. So yeah, he didn't want me around none of it. Okay, even though my sister worked for the family business, you got to remember she was 14 years older. Okay, and even though she was young, she'd been there. He couldn't. And furthermore, he hadn't adopted her. He was like her father, definitely that, and considered her his daughter. But um, she was more raised by my grandmother. So it is what it is, right? And for a while, I didn't understand and wanted to work in the family business, but it wasn't hurting me any. I still found plenty jobs, and it helped me more. Like I learned this is before GPS and whatnot, and I learned how to travel and get around and just different things that my older sister didn't. You can't keep that from me. Um, different things that my older sister just wasn't like, privy to. She didn't know. She never know how of. And it came from just experience and growing up, right? Which she should have, but she didn't. So, um, that was that. So, anyways, my grandfather passes away, and now my grandmother, which was, I believe, always the rock of the family. She was always that one to hold things together, you know? And, but also, I see now flaws. She was one hell of a woman, let me say that. And I wish I could just be as half the woman as she was. Um, so I definitely looked up to her. Like, she was amazing. I don't see how she held so much together. Um, if you don't give me the phone, give it to me. Dang. Sorry, y'all. So, boy, let me charge my phone. So, anyways, I wish I could be half the woman she was. In other words, but I do see flaws. I see things that, far as like anyone who got in trouble, meaning my nephew and my cousin, she would run to the rescue instead of letting them be men and seeing their way through it all. Um, yeah, I don't understand what you're saying. You gotta speak English. Yeah, she would rescue everyone, including me, no matter what we came up against. I will give you a situation. My sister, again, this is one of the reasons why my dad did not want me working in the family business and being in that environment. My sister started out. Okay, I wasn't gonna tell you what type of businesses, but I guess I will have to. There was a restaurant. I won't tell you what type of restaurant, and a liquor store combined. And so my sister was privy to alcohol at I mean, in high school. I remember a time my dad, she had a flat and it was at her boyfriend's high school, and in the trunk there was like cases of liquor. So she was one of those, I guess, privileged or kids, you know. But anyhow, some kind of way, I guess, from smoking weed to primos to I don't know what all she was into because I was a baby at the time. Um, but there was a situation, and I had to be teenager at this point, 11, 12, 13. Um, I don't know what you're saying, sir. And I'm in the middle of a story, so I don't want to. Maybe he's telling me to start doing some stuff to the character. I don't like these eyes. Let's change these eyes. Um, so there was one particular time, just to give you an example. Um, she left work, and I don't know what she was doing. She could have been going to see a friend. Hell, I don't know what she was doing, but she went to this uh, what would you call it? Shop, some kind of shop, detail shop, whatever it was. And obviously they sold drugs there. And somebody told my grandmother, or got word to my grandmother that they had just got busted. and they had everyone in handcuffs. I'm talking like 10 plus people. And my grandmother rushed down there. This is what I mean by saving us all. She rushed down there and went the freak off. And let's just say my sister was the only one who didn't go to jail that day. So situations like that, and I didn't say like my grandfather at one point had cops on the payroll, like so. The family had a reputation for itself. Um, Hold on, let's take a 5 minute break. Hold on. Alright. I'm back. Sorry, guys. Okay, let's work on her eyes. I think that's what we're doing. I mean, they're okay, but I don't like that they seem like they're sleepy eyes or droopy eyes. So, oh no. No, ma'am. No. It's a little better, but not much. No. See. Huh. Well, it's something about her forehead or something ain't alright with these dang eyebrows and this forehead business. Alright, like, I don't know, I ain't feeling it at all. So let's see what they can be about. I don't know if we're gonna be able to tell the difference here. You know? Okay. Now they don't have that dramatic look though. Let's see. I don't know. We'll stay here and see what we see. She got a crinkle in that nose though, so yeah. Oh no, hold on. Uh, Alright. Still got that crinkle, girl. Hell if I know. Is that crinkle still there? I don't know. We'll figure it out. Ashley! Come here! She gonna say, you called me to bring you down water. Alright, let's see about these tricks, honey. Okay, where was I at? Oh, sister and the... Yeah, so she was the only one that didn't go to jail that day. That's just... To just give you, like, some outlook on how much... Um, how much clout or whatever my grandmother had. And what means she would go to save us. Any of us who found ourselves in any kind of trouble. Okay. So as years went on, of course the same things repeated, just in a different situation would happen. As for me, I can say that I was sheltered, but you can't protect your children from everything, okay? So in a sense, I was shielded from a lot, um, but not everything. So with that said, time goes on, and grandmother gets older. Nephew's in and out of jail. I won't say why. Cousin is in and out of jail, but not the charges aren't. He's in and out of jail, not prison. Okay, nephew is in and out of prison. There's a difference. Oh. Um, and everyone kind of just grew apart in a sense with their own lives and growing up. There was a lot of hurt, a lot of pain caused on all aspects of everyone. No one, uh, no, no one is better than the other. But when you're in the moment, you only think about self. Um, my grandmother became older and sickly. First of all, let's just say my mom passed away. She became sickly, which ran in the family, diabetes, kidney failure. So it was just my dad, my aunt behind. Remember I said that her, and I could tell stories, and I may, but out of respect, I won't go deep right now. But like I said, her uncle, what was his name, Donald, and Aunt Jean were heavily into drugs. Uncle Donald, like I said, was this big time drug dealer, and um, okay, I guess I have to tell you this story as well. There was a house purchased. Um, my my uncle actually he made the down payment and the remodeling. Okay, because he was in the drug business and he had the means to do so, but that's not forever. You know what I mean? And so he eventually got busted, and my grandmother made all payments for the 20 years after. Okay. Um, but what happened to my aunt was very sad. Bring me a water. What happened to my aunt was very sad. During this time, she was trying to get her life together. She was in school. She was in business school. She was still, um, married to this drug dealer in this drug life. And when I say that, that doesn't mean they're bad. They were actually good people. Like, I loved going over to their house. It was always fun. I can remember whenever I wanted extra money for whatever, like, kids do, um, I could go over there and ask, hey, you got some work for me to do? And he would have me wash a load of clothes and give me $100. Every weekend, it was just a ball. We would have cable, we would have movies, because, people were renting movies at that time. And every weekend there was pizza and red lobster and steak and just whatever you wanted, you had it. All you had to do was to ask. And I loved it. And this particular aunt, anyway, was my favorite aunt. And so, but she was stuck. You know what I mean? I didn't understand it at the time. And so, it's funny how things happen because she was trying. She was in school, like I said, and she ended up having a stroke. Long story short, on her way home from school, she ended up having a stroke and an aneurysm. And from that point on, she was um, paralyzed and living in a nursing home for, and she had this at a young age. I think she was 40 when it happened, 39, 40. And yeah, so from 40, she had to live in a nursing home, and we would bring her home every weekend, of course, but she had to stay there, and she had brain surgery. It was a lot, okay? Because she had an aneurysm and a stroke. All right, so, and my uncle, my uncle ended up, she used to always accuse him of cheating, and we never believed her. Just thought it was drugs. And so, turns out he, I won't get into that story, but just let's say that he ended up having a woman over. He's supposed to have a 14-year-old daughter with her, which was 1 year older than his son, um, with my aunt. And so my grandmother, because remember, she was the one paying the the rent, and that's the type of person she was. She bought my mom and dad a house because she said the house we lived in was too small, and I was a teenager, and I was gonna want company to start coming over, and our house was too small, so she bought us a house. That's just the type of person she was. Um, and so she put him out once he started disrespecting my aunt. Like he had gave her an STD. He had man, just thinking back on this shit. The woman he was messing with would call the nursing home and harass my aunt, and she had already been through so much. I couldn't imagine going through that. Like I would want to die. You know what I mean? Like I'm sure she had thoughts like that. And then she got this woman who, for no reason, all like you got the man. You know what I mean? So, anywho, um, he, my uncle started disrespecting my aunt a little too much by having the woman there. And then she came when my aunt was there, like on the weekend, and that was the ultimate, like getting your ass kicked with us. You know what I mean? And so, plus all the other shit she done. So yeah, so we kicked his ass out too, and that was that. Um, so that just to kind of give you a background now of just how things have progressed and why people are like they are and whatnot. So, anyways, we continue to live life. We brought my aunt home every weekend. My uncle went on with his life with the other lady, and she was nice to my cousin at first when she was trying to get in good, and once she got in good, she didn't even want him living there anymore. So, um, my uncle somewhat turned his back on his son, who he had raised his whole life. Okay. So at that point, my grandmother is there to raise him, and my mom, and my cousin was going through a lot. Of course, I mean it's expected, and he got into drugs, things I didn't even know at the time, crack, and heroin, and so yeah. So his father ended up going to jail too, and they ended up trying to taking everything because of him being a drug dealer. But they did not take the house because my grandmother was smart. She was one paying for it, and also they had put the house in my grandmother's name and my aunt's name. He kept his name off of it, so therefore, when he got arrested, they couldn't take it. But they tried, but they couldn't. So that's that. And yeah, so that's that backstory. So my grandmother gets older. My grandfather is gone, of course, and she's understandably too old to run these apartments and houses and businesses. People are not paying like they should. I don't know if there's anyone who is in real estate, but sometimes it's hard to collect, and so people aren't paying. And she hired my dad. He had closed up his club, and he was older. So she got my dad to start collecting for percentage, and that worked for a little while. Um, but again, you have taxes and different things. So she ended up selling each year. She'd sell something. Um, and she still ran the restaurant and liquor store for the most part until she eventually sold it to the city because and she was too old at that point. And the city was gonna take it. Like they were figuring out a way, so she couldn't refuse to sell. Um, so yeah. So now, how the family came distant. So one by one, family members started dying. My aunt, which I don't know why that was so unexpected, but it was. And then my mom, or was it my mom first? I don't know. And then my dad, which was very unexpected. He died from colon cancer, and yeah, he declined in like a month's time, and when we got him to the hospital, I think he lived a week and a half. Yeah, so very quick. Um, okay, I think we got her. Let's shape her body now. Well, first, well, hold on. Wait, see if I like. Well, first I like to put on makeup to see how they're gonna look. Especially the lips. I didn't talk y'all. Okay, them lips is alright. Let's see here. Lips is okay, I guess. And oh, let's see, we might can do dimples. I don't know if she look like with dimples. Oh, she already have them. All right, and we're gonna make her titties sit up. Her little titties. All right, and give her some ass because right now she's suffering from no ass at all. Pull in this waist, honey. Snatch it. Yes, ma'am. Still got look like a little gut or something. Hold on. Okay, I knew I was seeing some kind of gut. So yeah, and we need to thicken them thighs, baby girl. Okay, hold on. Drop that hip. All right. So yeah, where was I? So my grandmother became ill, and because the type of like everybody was, like I say, wrapped up in themselves. I um had my daughter at that point, and again, I just felt like this woman, my grandmother, had taken care of us our whole lives, and she lived her life for us. To me, it seemed like every decision made was for us. Right? And how dare we allow her in her old age to, not be cared for? And so I moved in with her and decided, because she, at one point, she needed 24-hour care. And so that's what has been done. I don't care what I had to give up. That was priority over everything. And that's what it was. Okay? That's the decision I made, and I stick with it even to today. I don't regret it. And but what I wasn't ready for, I didn't understand everything that she had to endure. Bills, and I mean multiple bills of businesses, houses, insurance. Like I wasn't ready. I wasn't taught that stuff. Should have been, but wasn't. Things she should have been teaching us, she wasn't. She was shielding us, and that I learned not to do with my kids today. You have to prepare them for when you're not here. You know. Um, and so, hold on. And so, I had to learn that stuff. But well, she was there. She still was there to show me and tell me what to do. And once that was done, it was done. And even now, like my cousin says, you're so strong and remind us so much of Granny. And I don't see it. I see some of it, but I don't. I don't think I'm half as strong or smart as she was. But anywho, um, uh, so anywho, she eventually had to show me, you know what I mean, of on the business side of things, what to do, and she did, and it was a lot, man. It was a lot, and I saw why she was so frustrated and down, and why it got to that point. Because once I started helping her, hell, all her bills, she wasn't even opening the bills. They had piled up, so it was a lot I had to figure out. When I say a lot, I mean a lot. And yeah, so I did, and time went on. But she ended up passing from heart failure. And once that happened, I was lost. That was my best friend. And when I tell you that I wasn't ready mentally, emotionally, physically for her death, like, it was scary. I was crying all the time. I was waking up. I mean, I'm not where I was, but I'm not over the hump. And that was, shoot, over 4 years ago now. And I'm still not over that hump. But again, I'm not where I was. I'm not in that dark place that I was. And those are the stories that I also want to tell, because I know there are others going through similar situations. Um, I mean, my children's godmom, it was so dark. She came to me and was like, "Hey, let me take the kids for a while, because you know you're going through so much." It was that bad. Okay, I woke up in the night crying, went to bed crying, um, just felt that I had no purpose whatsoever. And I've skipped a lot. Like, there's a little bit of how everybody became distant. Now, I had my sister, of course. Um, However, she was into, drugs, and had, I felt, done so much. Um, as far as, like, when my dad died, I couldn't take care of my dad and my mom, and my dad and my grandmother, and I felt like she had stole from my dad when he was on his deathbed. Just so much, and there was so much pain and anger there. So um, that's why her and I was so distant. My nephew, he stayed in prison most of the time, so um, that's why we were so distant. And plus, when he would come home, he's one of those. He would try to be controlling and run everything, and like, how can you? You've been gone. So we were somewhat distant, but that's needless to say, because he wasn't even around. And then my cousin did the utmost horrible thing before she passed, and which I've forgiven for at now. But for money, for drugs, he sold some property. Which was rightfully his. It was gonna go to him, but my grandmother didn't want to sell it. And when she started to block it, or had me block it because she was sickly, he tried to get her put in a nursing home, and just some things were done, and oh man, it was so. But because she was on hospice at the time, um, it's long story short, that house that his mom and dad had gotten, but never paid the house payments. And my grandma had always paid the house payments, right? A few years before that, before her passing, about 5 years before her passing, the taxes were extremely high. And so she was told if she took her name off but left my aunt's name on, because my aunt was in a nursing home disabled, it would be cheaper. And so she did. But the actual owners did not know she had done this. And when they found out, they told her, no, you need to make it the way the contract, you need to get it back the way it was. okay, back to the way the contract had it. Da 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 da. In between that time, however, my aunt dies. Like I said, no one expected that. And what happens now? The house goes to who? Her son, right? So Granny can't change it back unless he signs. And like we say, the house was always to go to him anyway. Um, she was willing to do whatever to sign whatever to let him be reassured of this. But instead, he got tricked out of from this lawyer, crooked lawyer, and he didn't get over for I think that was a $200,000 house. He didn't get he didn't get 10,000, did he? Thousand, yeah. So he got truly fucked, y'all. And the lady kept her name off of it. He didn't even know it was so. He somehow gave her power of attorney. Anywho, long he got fucked. That's shit deal of that. And but when I called a few lawyers, because again, when we found out what was going on, um, we were trying to block it, and we were told we couldn't block it, but we could get the money back that my granny had put into the house, the payments, which was 20 years worth of payments, y'all. So, and the people who we were buying the house from was willing to testify of this. You know, we had bank statement, whatever. It was a done deal, and so um, so for this not to happen, they felt like he said the lawyer tricked him and talked him into it, but bullshit. Um, they or he called adult protective people, CPS, like all kind of things. So and they knew it was fake because of the outlandish things that were said. It was too much. There's no running water in the house. That I was beating my grandmother. That I was harboring a fugitive. That it was so much. But again, my grandmother was on hospice, and someone was coming out to the house every day. So they knew, and when the people came, they could see that it wasn't that. All right, so the case was, I think, dropped within that week. It wasn't. They didn't take, take. It was fine, thank God. But it could have turned out a whole different way, and that's the way I think of it today. Like, what if she had been put in a home? You know what I mean? What if hospice wasn't around and they believed that I was doing something to her or whatever? You know what I mean? She was in her right mind. She could talk to, but just what if? And then me, I felt like I was the innocent. Even my grandmother was innocent in it. She had raised him. She had looked like, how could you do that? And then even me and my children, like, why would you do that? That's evil. You know what I mean? So from that point on, I decided, and I told him, you know what? You better buy you a house because if something happens to grandmother, or when it does, you get nothing. I'm gonna make sure of it. You get nothing, and that's exactly what it was. Um, but the reason being, it was not malicious. It was that it was hurt. It was that I could not trust him. And yes, I love him. I forgive him today. I'm not. I don't feel the same way I did then, but I still cannot let him close. Um, because it was also, I remember him trying to trick me during that time. And luckily, just I have integrity because I remember him calling me and asking me about some food stamps or whatever and trying to buy them, and I wouldn't go for it. But what if I had, like, you know what I mean? Like, just things I think about now, like, damn, what if I was weak and or needed the money or something and just gave in? So it wasn't even about lying because I didn't think nothing of it. I just didn't want to do it. You know what I mean? Like, I wasn't gonna do that. And my kids needed, we needed our own food. So, anywho, long story short, I didn't fall for it. But what if I had of, man? It could have turned out a whole different way. And we're talking about family. So, from that point on, I decided that You know, I won't turn my back on him. I've paid his phone, I've given him money, but I will also not allow him to ever get close to me again to where he could hurt me, if that makes sense. Because if you will hurt the woman who raised you, man, you'll do anything. So, yeah. So that's part of the reason that, it's not a lot of us, but yes, we're very distant. But we have love for each other and we're honestly moving past it. Um, but of course, still, I have to keep certain boundaries. And then, um, also, I learned, my sister recently, last year, about 6 months ago, she passed away, and we wasn't close. We were living in the same area, you know what I mean, but didn't speak often. And one day I get a call that she's in the hospital and she's scared, you know what I mean? And I go running, no questions asked. But I still, and that's when I learned that she has cancer and dying. And it's like, damn, we have been apart over bullshit, like all this time. And for what? You know what I mean? All this time that I could have had with her was just lost. And that's the regret I will have to, have for the rest of my life. But on the good side, the positive side is we we got to spend the next month together. I was there for her every day. Her son was yet again in prison, but I even got in touch with him, found him. I tried to get him out, but I couldn't. And now we're in a good place um, from that, which wouldn't have happened. So some things aren't worth it. You know what I mean? Like none of it was worth it, and I can't stress that enough. If you are into it with a family member, and yeah, I just tell you the story of my cousin, and again, I say I love him to death. I love him. There's nothing I wouldn't do for him if he was in trouble, but I have my own family for his kids and stuff, and so when I say I can't let him close, I can't. I can't let him. I can't put him in a position to hurt me or them. However, that doesn't mean that I won't have a relationship with him or don't. I do. Um, but I also have to have boundaries because he and I are in two different headspaces, if that makes sense. Um, and I have to put myself first. I have to be selfish. But anywho, yeah, I can't stress enough that if you have family members and it's resentments and hurt and pain there, I get it. But man, don't let that keep you from having a relationship with them because life is short, especially nowadays with the bull crap going on. Life is so short. Let's see, what does she look like? So yeah, I'ma quit talking y'all ears off. I see people popping in and popping out. Uh, and they're probably used to my action type games. That ain't this, honey. That ain't this. And I ain't liking the way she look. I mean, she alright, but excuse me. Let's see. Maybe we can give her a different hairstyle. Cause yeah, that ain't working for me. Maybe it's the skin color. Uh-oh. One thing I did say, I'm hella picky. Hella picky. Mm, I don't know. It's something I ain't liking. But I'll save her. And we'll continue on with her another day. Because I'm just to get on GTA, y'all. Let's see. What can we name her? Deanna. Destiny, I guess. Destiny Donald. Okay.
Ah. Oh. Ah, Yabasani.
Yeah, Basani. Let's randomize the traits. I never let them pick. What they give her to?
Oh, the samba.
Gloomy, geek, insider. Oh wow. That's one for you, huh? Let's see, location. Ain't gonna be popularity. She's a geek. Let's do creativity. Arthur. Mhm. And now we will save this thing. Gloomy. Gloomy. I don't know. Let's say this. All right, love bugs. I will catch you guys in the next one. I hope you enjoyed today's introduction of who am I and my backstory. Um, and yeah. Uh-oh. Here, Bob. Go outside. So, okay, I will holler at you guys in the next one. Until then, stay safe. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. And please, please, please like. Yes, I am begging for all the likes. It's just a simple tap. And share if you will. Love you guys and catch you in the next one.